We're playing Sonic Adventure 2. I'm
Sonic. We're playing Knuckles.
I'm
the
Sonic.
Game. This is a game about Knuckles. He's lost his children. He needs to find them. He left them in the daycare.
He knows that it's here.
And then
he senses it in his feet.
Yes, the Great Emerald's power allows him to feel.
He can't see a thing, but it's around somewhere.
This
is the
graveyard.
Song, though.
Yeah. How does this one go? I can't hear it.
This one doesn't have lyrics, does it?
I think it does.
No, it doesn't. It's just like a techno song.
I don't know.
No.
It has
I
lyrics.
hear vocals. I don't know. I don't remember this song. I don't feel like I
can't. Yeah, we have the music turned down pretty low, so we can't really hear what it sounds like. But
I definitely
it's a rap song.
I definitely know Pumpkin Hill and I know Death Chamber, but I don't remember this.
Wake the
place's
fuck
music.
up.
I mean, Knuckles, the music in this game is cool.
Yeah,
legitimately. Like, even
cool.
though it's corny as shit.
But it's like, how many games have we played at the time of this coming out that had like full songs with lyrics and everything?
Right, that's
like,
what's cool about it.
It's cool and it's stylish.
Yeah, I mean, nowadays the only times you get that is like Bayonetta or something, or like No More Heroes, like some really artsy sort of games, you know, or some like more high caliber shit. It's definitely a cool element. It's definitely a game that has
memorable.
so much.
It's
there's
very
so much
memorable.
shit in the game that there's like the little things that are good, like, you know, kind of keep you going,
and they become iconic in, you know.
Right. I definitely say the music is a huge
very
thing.
nostalgic.
Fucking Live and Learn was like literally my favorite song for a long part of my childhood.
It was the greatest thing that ever was made in history.
The greatest butt
this game
rock
was
song
amazing.
ever. Oh man. Oh, now you get to play as Tails.
Tails!
Alright.
This is a song. He's in a plane. It's kind of cool his plane turns into a robot.
Yeah.
You heard about it on satellite TV. Whoa!
Look at these awful, like, the way the subtitles have, like, this drop
Looks
shadow
like they
behind
spent
them.
more time designing his robot than, like, anything else in this game. What the fuck is Amy doing on a fucking battleship in the middle of the ocean?
I really think,
yeah, cool.
Like, to
that
me,
was cool.
Sonic games are not something you can possibly get into as an adult.
Yeah.
Like any of them, even the first ones. Because everyone has their favorite Sonic games that they remember from when they were a kid. They all think that the first game was great. And I just, to me, because Sonic is a game about flow, it's only fun to play when you're doing good. You know, it's only fun to play when you know your way around. And the only reason you would ever know your way around is because you played the game over and over again.
Yeah,
because you were a kid and you had time.
When you're a kid and you have like 3 games and you're like, well, I'm gonna play Sonic over and over again because it's my favorite game.
Which is also, I mean, I feel that way about the old, like most of the old Mario games too.
Yeah.
In fairness, where like, because when you suck at Mario, because I suck at Mario, I did not grow up playing Mario.
I do as well.
I didn't play any of the 2D platformers at all as a kid. And even Mario 64, I was like not very good at it, so I didn't play it that much.
I'm gonna skip these cutscenes.
But like I try to play Mario now, and like when you die in that game, it just feels awful because you have to constantly like get the fucking death screens, and then you get game overs. You have to keep starting over and shit like that, and like that just feels so bad that like I don't want to sit there and get good at the game. Like a game like Dark Souls, when you die, it feels right. Yeah. You know, like it
feels deserved.
Right.
And then you have to go back and do everything again, but it's so fun.
Modern platformers account for it really well, because like I'm a huge fan of Super Meat Boy because the controls feel so good, and when you die, you just instantly respawn. You know, so you never have that period of like, oh god, like you don't really have enough time to get super frustrated, because the second you get mad, you're immediately playing again, and you're already trying again, and you're just frustratedly trying, and it feels really good. But I can't get into old Mario because I don't want to spend like, you know, the amount of time that it takes to get to like master the controls, to master the level layouts and shit like that. And you know, and newer Mario games are just way easier. They don't try your patience like that, and people talk about how they wish that there were that like, oh, why aren't the new games as hard as the old games? But it's like, ask yourself, do you really have time to play a bunch of hard Mario games?
I don't know. I've
to go back and play Sonic 1 and fucking learn the levels if you didn't know them. You know?
The difficulty of like Mario 64 was the proper difficulty, whereas like
Mario 64
Mario Sunshine and Mario Galaxy are pretty hard. But watching the Game Grumps play 3D World, it does look a little too easy. Like it looks pretty.
But they
pretty
died
damn,
a lot playing that.
Yeah, but then it's like it doesn't matter when you die.
I don't know.
Like it's more just tedious.
I think.
And I thought the Bowser stages were lame.
I think every Mario game has a shitty death system because they still keep the same death system that they've always had. Yeah. You know? I don't get your love of bosses. I hate bosses.
I love bosses.
I'm not a fan
the
of
bosses. Is your payoff for doing the level.
But it's
the coolest designed
bitch work,
enemy.
Though. Like,
what are you talking about?
It
makes you feel like you earned something. Like
other than
you beat the boss, you get the heart. You're like, man, I beat that big guy. Now I get to leave.
I think other than Dark Souls, there aren't usually bosses. Or actually, I say bosses
are good in action games. It depends on how well the boss is designed. Yeah, in action games especially, because especially if it's something where the boss is testing the skills that you learned in the level.
Yeah, like you know, when it comes to like Metal Gear Rising or something, or Dark Souls, and you fight a boss and you have to put all the fucking skills that you've already been using to the test. But in fucking Zelda or something, it'll be something you've never had to do ever. You know, like it's nothing to do with the. But then again, like
usually
most of the modern,
to beat the boss, you have to use the item that you got in the dungeon, and that's cool.
I mean, that's not cool because it's like so blatant. It's like, okay, I got this item, I use it on this boss, and I never need it.
It's a matter of,
you know,
this item is cool. It does a cool thing. It feels good to use the item. So what are all the ways that we can use this item now? And it's like, it's not about how long the item lasts in your inventory. It's just about using that item in that dungeon because using an item is fun. Where it's like, I get the Twilight Princess, he has the spinning top that you ride on, and it's like, it's so impractical almost anywhere in the game, but then the whole dungeon is centered around spinning on that top and jumping off of things, which feels really fucking cool. And then you fight the boss, and you're like spinning around a giant column, and it's fucking awesome.
It's cool in a way that you're defending it, because that item is attacked by so many people.
I don't understand. That's my favorite item in like any Zelda game. It's so much fun.
I think
it's so fun to just spin around and bounce off of shit, and you feel like a fucking badass. You're like, this is amazing.
Like, what I love about
I love that
Zelda
item.
1 is like every item you have serves a practical purpose outside of the dungeon. You know.
Well, I mean, the stuff like the spinning top, it's like you do still use it to get heart pieces and stuff, where they'll have like tracks scattered around, and you still get to use it for stuff like that, and it's fun. It's a lot of fun to use. I know in like the snow level, you can use it to kind of get over the snow bits, because like you have a hard time walking through them, and then you just glide over them.
I definitely think that anytime someone talks about Zelda from the perspective of just playing through the main storyline, I always feel like it's missing the point. Because to me, like the fun part of Zelda
in playing it.
Well, like the part that makes it fun to me is the adventure outside of the main story. You know, like it's the fact that they create these big, dense worlds. And the fact that you take the items that you got from the dungeon, you take the things you've learned, and you go back to everywhere else and you use it again, you know.
It's about, that's skills
like
of remembering.
The point
you know,
to me.
You gotta remember that you talked to some guy in the village way the fuck over there.
Everyone,
and then,
like, people call that bitch work, you know.
I think that's fun, though. It's like, what's not fun about that? That you feel cool when you go back and accomplish that, because it's like,
well, it shows that you learned the world.
Exactly.
Like, to me, the point of the game is that if I feel like I'm charting this world, you know, like I'm taking this place and I'm learning it like the back of my hand. That's why I think like the Skulltulas are one of the coolest things in Zelda, because they force you to find, like, they force you to look around, you know, and the fact that they started in Zelda 64 in fucking Ocarina of Time, what made them special about that was that it was the first 3D Zelda game, and so many of the mechanics in that game are based around looking around.
Yeah.
You know, just the fact that you're in a 3D space, they wanted you to look at every angle of the 3D space. So they put in these enemies where it'll be like, it's just on the ceiling, but you wouldn't think to look at the ceiling, you know, but this incentivizes you to look at every angle of every room, and then you learn the whole world perfectly. You know your way around, you know where everyone is, you know where everything is. That's what makes it cool to me.
Yeah.
You know? So when people talk about Zelda in terms of like the bosses or the dungeons and stuff like that, I'm like, yeah, that's all fine and good, but to me, the stuff I did between the dungeons was the part I cared about.
Yeah.
You know, the dungeons to me facilitates the exploring,
which is cool. I mean, for me, I just enjoy literally every aspect of Zelda.
Right.
I just love the games, so it's like, you know, and it's part of the bosses is a nostalgia thing, because that's what I thought was cool as a little kid.
Right.
But then I got to fight a big monster, and I felt
Yeah.
cool. And it was still difficult to me.
Yeah,
in my
it
youth,
was definitely
where it's
hard
like,
as a
yeah,
kid.
It was challenging to fight the boss.
Yeah, whereas now it's just like
Yeah.
such a joke.
And it's like
that
we
you
make
can't
fun
take it
of
seriously.
the recurring stuff, like, you know, there's always a big shiny thing that you have to hit.
Right.
But then it's like, well, the first time you did that, wasn't it still cool? And won't it still be cool for the next generation the first time they have to do
Right.
that? Like, it's still gonna be fun.
I definitely think that there's a bias where people want every new installment to be
Yeah.
for them.
Exactly. You want it to be for you, and it's like, well, it's not for you. Let the next generation experience the magic of
Right.
what you
Which
love.
is what we were talking about with Jesse Wood's video on Pokemon.
Yeah.
If anybody haven't seen the My Japanese Animes video on Pokemon, where Jesse's talking about how, like, with Pokemon, he saw it as like, you know, his whole generation cared about this thing, and everyone was. See, this is why this game's a piece of shit.
Shit,
right here.
fuck.
Exactly.
I hate this last fucking part. You have to like hold forward, even though you're not really going forward in the space in a way, and it's very
Right.
confusing.
Anyways, he talks about how like our generation like owned Pokemon and how like, you know, he always wanted Ash to grow up with him, but Ash never did. Ash stayed 10 forever. Ash will, you know, never made any progress with Misty, even though, you know, it's funny, I'm not even sure that this show really did hint at their relationship. It was just that song from the soundtrack that really gave everyone the idea.
Did you watch Tamashi Hiruka's video on that?
No, I didn't.
She did a really
I
good
don't
job. Where it's
remember.
basically in the English version of the show, they have more bits of Misty's dialogue that hint at her having a thing for Ash,
Right.
whereas in the Japanese version,
And it was
wasn't
just
as
never
much.
there.
But it's
Right.
pretty interesting to look at that, and it's like,
But,
I guess we would in an Americanized version of
Right,
Pokemon.
like in our version, we were like, "Oh shit!" Well, now she's gone, and like that relationship
we
never
have
happened.
that cultural stigma of, oh, it's a guy and a girl hanging out. You know,
Right,
she's
they've
gotta be
gotta
in
be
love with
into
them.
each other.
They can't, you know,
Even
just
though they're fucking
be
10 and
cool.
12
Exactly.
years old, but and have like no real chemistry that they would. Why would they hook up? Like, why would that be a thing? But anyway, you know, he was talking about how every time a new generation comes out, all the old fans are like, "Oh, what the fuck is all this shit? Generation 1 Pokemon was the coolest." And it's like, can't you just let the kids have...
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
it's well,
Pokemon
it's
is not
for you.
yours.
I
It's,
think,
the whole reason it's called another generation is because it's for the next generation, you know?
But with Pokemon,
and everyone
actually-
like, we have a little brother who's 6 years younger than me, Shade, and his first Pokemon was Diamond and Pearl.
Yeah.
And he has said before that
first
that's
one he had
the, like,
himself.
he knows the first generation pretty well because, you know, because it's more ubiquitous. But he doesn't really know Gold and Silver or Ruby
he
and
doesn't know
Sapphire at all.
those
He
in
knows
the slightest.
all the Diamond and Pearl Pokemon. I know zero.
And
of them.
his favorite Pokemon as
Was
a kid
like Darkrai.
It was Giratina.
Yeah, Giratina and Darkrai were.
Which
his
to me, it's
favorites.
like, that's one of the fucking lamest looking
Right.
Pokemon ever. But he thought it was the coolest thing ever when he was a kid.
Right.
I can understand liking Diamond and Pearl because there were so many legendaries that it was like overwhelming.
Right.
And like as a kid, you'd definitely be like, "This is the coolest thing ever." There's so many like big
Exactly.
Pokemon.
Like to us, it's like, oh, it
Exactly.
cheapens it.
'Cause,
But
yeah,
it's
to
like,
us,
but that's
it
because
was
we
more
had a
novel
game where there
before.
was only one legendary.
Yes.
But if you never had a game where there was only one legendary, then all the legendaries are fucking cool.
Yes.
You know? Yeah.
But I would say, in terms of the games, I wouldn't agree that they're only made for the next generation because
Well, not
the
only
Pokemon
for,
designs, but I feel like they do still keep the hardcore audience in mind because they keep making the Pokemon more complex with like the the competitive aspect of it, where they keep making all the stats more complex
they want each
and
game
all that
to
kind of
be
thing.
deeper. Like, you don't have to ever interface with all that, you know.
Exactly, but they still have it there for people who are really into that.
Right.
They don't
but
just
you don't have to
just
be,
ignore the rest of
you
the
don't have
the
to
fan
be
base.
the older fan to get into that shit. You know, any kid could potentially.
Oh, some of that
get
stuff's
into
really
shit.
complex, but yeah, they could get into it.
Right. Like, there's no reason that any of the new games couldn't be. And they also keep remaking the old games, obviously, so that kids will, you know.
Exactly. So the next generation has the best
that
version
game
to play
as well. Yeah. Like, they, you know, now.
Because it would be really hard if you were born in the 3DS era to go and like find a Game Boy, get the game, play the original Game Boy game. You're gonna think it sucks. Like, it's gonna be really hard to play.
Yeah, if X and Y was your first Pokemon.
Exactly. It's like you're not gonna
certainly.
want to go back and do the other ones. And I like that they're remaking the other ones for the next generation, especially because they innovate in a way that actually is constructive and makes the games better.
Yeah. Anyway, that's it for episode 2.
Episode 2
of Digibro. Just hang from this.
Finish the
just
rest of
hang
the level.
from that.
No, it's literally like we're at the end, so
Oh, okay.
should at least finish.
Well, all right,
finish
we'll
the level
finish the
for these good people. Unless we want to leave it on a cliffhanger so they'll watch part 3.
I just wanted you to be hanging from that vine.
Oh my god.
When we came back.
It was just evil.
Alright.
Oh, shit.
Fine.
Fuck.
Finish
No,
the
get to the
level.
end.
You have a time limit that is like incredibly long time
I know,
limit
it's
for
like
this
5
level.
minutes. The thing is, I remember as a kid failing this, like failing that
Yeah,
time limit.
well,
Oh, fuck.
'cause-
Oh, fuck. Fuck.
Oh, get the bumper. What the fuck?
Shit.
What are you doing?
Oh, that's right. It just stops at the end anyways.
Oh.
False fear of death. I'm running down my timer, though.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's
Yeah.
All right, next time on Digibros, we bro out.
We bro.
I broed.
We
in
get
my
the bro.
pants.
There's bromine. Bro.